Ginkgo biloba, a lot of us have heard of. It's probably the most commonly ingested herb for brain health. And it's something that is supposed to enhance our cognitive function. According to Examine, we have 4 top options for enhancing cognitive function when it comes to memory and focus, at least per supplements, natural supplements. And ginkgo biloba is one of them. Ginseng is another. Caffeine, of course, is another, and you can never forget blueberries, right? So those are the top 4. And we've done videos on ginkgo biloba before, but we had a really great question from someone, and that was, why am I not feeling much from the ginkgo biloba? I'm taking a clinical dose. I looked into some studies, and I'm taking which good for you, right? And I'm just like not feeling a difference. I've been taking it for like a month and this and that. And we're going to talk about that because it really depends on the demographic in terms of getting benefit with memory and focus and general cognitive function from ginkgo biloba. And so why? Like, what's in it? What does this stuff do? And what's a little history on ginkgo biloba? Well, ginkgo, they also call a fossil tree or a tree fossil, however you want to say it. It's been around like forever, all right? It's existed in its unchanged form for over 200 million years. 200 million years. That's a long time. I can't even fathom how much time that is, but it's been around for damn long. Some sources say up to 270 million years, so it's crazy. It's like one of the oldest trees out there. We have that, and does it say something that this has existed for so long, it's been successful evolutionarily? We could talk about that. But what's in it that is providing some benefit for our brain? Well, we have flavonoids and we have terpenoids. They're probably the major bioactive compounds, or you could say phytochemicals, like plant chemicals, that are in it that provide benefit. And they're antioxidants, right? And so antioxidants are generally good, and they'll improve blood flow to your brain, and they protect your cells, and they do all this good stuff. So what is the mechanism by which ginkgo biloba will improve cognitive function, and who does it improve cognitive function in terms of a demographic? Well, we have antioxidant, anti-inflammatory properties. Okay, antioxidant protects brain cells, and all your cells, but yeah, gets into the brain, right, across the blood-brain barrier, so it protects your brain cells. All right, that seems like a pretty good thing. Anti-inflammatory, reducing inflammation is obviously a great thing, just in general, for health and for thinking, right? So, EPA, that's an omega-3, that's a big anti-inflammatory that we know of. Extra virgin olive oil is a big anti-inflammatory, leafy greens are, whatever, there's a lot of them. But anti-inflammatory is a good thing for cognitive function and overall health, as we said. It modulates mitochondrial function. So what does that kind of mean in simple? Well, mitochondria are the energy powerhouses of our cells. And they seem to not work as well as time goes on in our lives. And so maybe that would be, it's important for healthy people too, but maybe even a little more important for people that are of the geriatric population, right? And so maintaining mitochondrial function is important for the health of a brain cell and for its functioning, right? Being able to process things for energy, being able to think sharp and remember things and focus, right? So that makes some sense. It improves blood flow to your brain. Okay, so improving cerebral blood flow, that seems like it would be a good thing for pretty much everyone, right? And why do we say it like that? Because we're going to differentiate between the different demographics and benefits based on the research. Now, lastly, albeit again, they don't understand exactly the mechanism by which ginkgo biloba improves cognitive function. Another purported one is the fact that it reduces amyloid beta toxicity on neurons. So what does that mean? Amyloid beta, well, you've heard of beta amyloid plaques, maybe, and if you haven't, they're common in people with neurodegenerative disease, namely Alzheimer's disease. And we had thought in the past that with Alzheimer's, it's the accumulation of these plaques in itself that is, a hallmark trait or kind of causing the disease. But recently we found out this year it's a lot more complicated than that. The amyloid plaques actually kind of go haywire. Like having more isn't necessarily the abnormal thing. It's the fact that they become neurotoxic and they damage your neurons. So this reduces neurotoxicity of amyloid beta, so of these plaques. So this protein. So that seems like it would be a good thing for who? Probably people with things like Alzheimer's disease or mild cognitive impairment or vascular dementia, for example. And you would be right if you thought that. Based on the research, ginkgo biloba has been consistently shown to improve memory and focus, general cognitive function in people with MCI, mild cognitive impairment, Alzheimer's, and vascular dementia. And that's not to say that its potency stacks up to pharmaceutical drugs. I'd have to do some more research to see, to compare a lot of things, but it's shown benefit really across the board, and there's a good body of evidence behind that. Now, in terms of healthy people like you and me that think well, or at least, well enough, it's shown mixed results, right? Sometimes it helps people, sometimes it doesn't, and I guess maybe a lot of that depends on just how naturally healthy you are, how healthy your brain already is, right? Like, maybe you didn't need that boost in mitochondrial function, modulating your mitochondria. Maybe they're already working really well. Maybe you exercise a lot, you sleep a lot, you eat whole food from nature, whatever. The amyloid beta thing doesn't really seem to matter that much to you, right? But the anti-inflammatory, the antioxidant benefits, and the blood flow that it increases to your brain seems like it would help even a healthy person. So, it's really explains why we have mixed results. When we're talking about those 4 purported potential mechanisms by which it acts, really 2 of them, half, which is ironic, and about half the time it's shown benefit in healthy people, would be beneficial for healthy people. So how much of this ginkgo biloba do we want to take if we're going to supplement with it? And, what's shown benefit in these trials? Well, 120 milligrams twice a day is what they really almost always use across the board. And it should be standardized, right? EGB 761 is a standardized extract of ginkgo biloba, 24% flavonoglycosides, 6% terpene lactone. So in other words, 24% of those flavonoids we were talking about and 6% of those terpenoids we were talking about. And that's, a really strong percentage of the compounds that are supposed to be helping you in some way, in the ways that we just talked about that are in it, right? So if you got ginkgo biloba and it wasn't standardized for anything, well, that could be one reason you don't feel it too. It could be you're the wrong demographic, right? Sometimes it helps people that are young and healthy, and sometimes it really doesn't make all that much of a difference. Now, how long did they take it for in these trials that it helped these people with mild cognitive impairment, vascular dementia, or things like Alzheimer's disease? Well, it was anywhere from 2 to 6 months daily. So it does take some time for it to begin really working, right? And when it comes to dosage, well, if it's so good for those type of people, like, why don't I just take like a gram of it, like 240? It's not that simple, right? Not all things are better when you take more of them, and ginkgo biloba is definitely one of them. It follows what we call a biphasic hormetic dosage principle, right? And so this biphasic hormesis or biphasic hormetic dosage response means in the beginning, as you take a little more, starts to do more. It starts to have more beneficial effect. You hit this peak, which happens to be about 240 milligrams based on the research. And then as you take more and more and more, it goes down. It could even be toxic as you take a lot more, right? So we definitely don't want that. And, for this reason, we tested 240 milligrams. We're testing actually right now of EGB 761, the best extract out there of ginkgo biloba in Super Duper U in our potential formula, right? So it's going to undergo a lot of testing. It'll take some time. But I've been feeling pretty good. So, but we got to see what it's attributed to. There are many other nootropics, things that enhance cognitive performance in Super Duper U. So, it's a lot of testing and testing on different demographics, right? Is it going to do more for that 88-year-old, or is it going to do an equal amount for that young person? And we'll kind of find out. So that's what we got for you guys today. Really interesting, I thought. And I hope I answered your question. You know who you are. And I hope you have a great day. Who do we got? Dave Beast from the East. I was there this morning, my friend. Did half the work out of my garage, did the other half there while I was training Aaron. Crystal, how you doing? JVR, good game. Ash, what's up, baby? Not a Pepto. Mom. Biggest fan. Love you. You're the absolute best. You got a nice little wave here. Wish I could leave a heart in there. I don't know how to do that. I guess I could comment. Brandon Malone, Cavono, and Fred Ed. La Rose Rojas. Appreciate you guys. And Teal Craft, what's up? As for now, so we got for you, folks. We'll see you tomorrow, baby. Not sure where, not sure when, but we'll see you then. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you very much. Happy When Wellness. See you later. Sean, what's up?